In this problem, a proton, neutron, proton, electron and alpha particle enters in a region of constant uniform magnetic field with all are moving with entering into equal velocities as shown in the figure. The tracks of the particles are shown in the figure. Relate the tracks to the particles. So which is proton, which is electron, which is neutron, which is alpha particle. First of all, the magnetic force experienced by a charged particle in uniform magnetic field is given by F is equal to BQV sin theta. Now we know that from this expression the force is perpendicular to both velocity and field here. So this is the expression, force is perpendicular to V as well as B. According to this, first of all, let us say if charge is equal to 0, in case of neutron we know that if charge is equal to 0, it will not experience any force. As it is entering into magnetic field with equal velocities, it will not experience any force. From this, acceleration is equal to F by m is equal to 0. So neutron will not experience any force and the acceleration of neutron will also 0. As the acceleration is 0, the velocity remains constant. Velocity is constant. When the velocity is constant, the particle will not deviate its path. It moves in a straight line. So particle will not deviate its path. It moves in a straight line. So in this, if you observe this A, B, C, D, C is the track which corresponding to neutron. So track C corresponds to neutron as it is not deviating and velocity remains same. Now in the second case, we know that by applying Fleming's left hand rule, if it is the magnetic field and the charge is entering like this, positive charge will experience force in this direction, negative charge will experience force in this direction. So this is the only particle which is negative here. So by using Fleming's left hand rule, we can say that track of D corresponding to electron as it is experiencing force in the right side direction. That means track A and B should be corresponding to positive charges. Now the electron is over, the neutron is completed. Now this A and B must be proton and alpha particle only. Now we know that the radius of the circular path described by charged particle when it turns into magnetic field perpendicular is given by R is equal to mv by bq. In this problem, velocity is constant and the field is also same. So radius described directly proportional to m by q. So in this case, now let me take a proton. For proton, Rp directly proportional to m by q. This is equation 1. And the second one, for alpha particle, R alpha directly proportional to 4m by 2q, or which is equal to 2m by q, equation 2. So from this we can see this is m by q, this is 2m by q. So radius of the circular path described by alpha particle must be greater than the radius of the circular path described by proton. In this case, it is clear that radius of this one is less, whereas radius of this one is more. So beta is alpha particle. So track of B corresponding to alpha particle, track of A corresponding to proton. Neutral or null point between two straight parallel conductors of infinite length. So I have taken two conductors which are carrying currents I1 and I2 in the same direction. Separate distances R and they are placed in A. Whenever the current carrying conductor carrying current in this direction, magnetic field here will be acting into the board. So here it will be into the board, and similarly due to this current the magnetic field is outside the board. So this is outside. This is B1. This is B2. B1 is due to this current, B2 is due to this current. So everywhere the magnetic field is here into due to this current, and this is out of this paper in this one. So between these two, somewhere the magnetic field may be equal and opposite. That point where the Net magnetic field will become 0 between two straight current carrying conductors is called a null point. Let us say this is a null point here. So let us say distance of this one from this one is d. So n is called a null point. Now in case 1 I am going to write, if wires carrying currents in same direction, now a null point will be formed between these two at so many places. So let me take only one null point. So at null point at n, B1 is equal to minus B2. So what is B1 here? Magnetic field with the first current carrying conductor, mu naught I1 by 2 pi x, which is equal to, I am taking only the magnitudes here, direction is I am not considering this one. This is equal to mu naught I2 by 2 pi into r minus x. R if I take d here, so let me take this as d, distance of the null point from this conductor I1. But here what we can write, mu naught 2 pi cancel. So I1 by d is equal I2 by r minus t. If I1 is greater than I2 or I2 is greater than I1, let us say here this I2 greater than I1. Now a neutral point will be formed always nearer to the conductor carrying small current. So here I1 is the small, I2 is more. So it will be formed nearer to the small current carrying conductor. You can write this as r minus t by d is equal to I2 by I1. This is r by d minus 1 is equal to I2 by I1. R by d is equal to I2 by I1 plus 1. So from this I want d. So d will become distance between two wires by bigger current by smaller current plus 1. This is the expression for the neutral point between the two straight current carrying conductor carrying current in the same direction. But if they are carrying current in the opposite direction, so I am taking this as case 2, if currents are opposite to each other. So let me change the direction of the current here. Instead of I2 going upwards, let us say I2 is flowing down. Then what is the direction of this magnetic fields here? Remember students, when these two are carrying currents in the same direction, due to this field is inverse, due to this also field is inverse. So between these two wires, both magnetic fields are acting in the same direction. But for the null point to be formed, fields must be opposite to each other. Here you can see, when it is carrying some current here, on the left side of this one, here the field is outwards, this is B1. Due to this current, here field is inwards, so this is B2. So a neutral point will be formed away from the system, which is at a distance d from this one. So let us say this is a null point here, n. So at n what we can write, B1 is equal to B2. B1 is given by mu naught I1 by 2 pi d is equal mu naught I2 by 2 pi into r plus t. This and this get cancelled. This I1 by I2 is equal d by r plus t. Or if you write this, reverse this one, r plus t by d is equal I2 by I1, r by d plus 1 when it goes that side minus 1, I2 by I1 minus 1. I want this distance of this point d. So distance of the null point is equal to r by bigger current by smaller current minus 1. Remember, if currents are flowing in the same direction, then null point will be formed within the field, and here you will get a ratio of the currents plus 1, but here ratio of currents minus 1 if the currents are flowing in the opposite directions. Galvanometer, it consists of a horseshoe magnet. So first part is horseshoe magnet with north and south poles which are in concave shape. So these are in concave shape. The concave shaped north and south poles here, these are in concave shape, will produce the radial field. So they produce concave poles, produce radial magnetic field. When the field is radial, the field induction will be more, and here we have a coil here with a number of turns. The second part is a coil suspended from a prosperous bronze wire. This red color line is a prosperous bronze wire. So it is an alloy of prosperous and bronze. The prosperous bronze wire has high Young's modulus. So this has high Young's modulus and very low rigidity modulus. If Young's modulus is more, it is not easy to stretch that one, and if rigidity modulus is less, it can be twisted easily. So can be twisted easily. And this is inextensible. We cannot extend this one easily. So after that we have the fourth one, we have a mirror here, and by using this mirror we can find the deflection produced here. This is a volt type of galvanometer. So these are the two terminals which are going to connect in the circuit, and we have a spring here. So this is a spring. So these are the devices or the instruments that are using in a moving coil galvanometer. Generally we call it MCG. Here, whenever if you send some current through this one, the current passes through this one, the coil will rotate. Why? Because the magnetic field will produce from north to south pole. A current carrying coil placed in a uniform magnetic field will experience a torque. So what is the torque experienced by this coil? Torque experienced is given by BIAN. So here torque is also equal to the deflection producer, but this is the couple for unit deflection. So we can write this as C theta. This is the couple for unit test, and this is the total deflection produced in the coil, which is given by BIAN. So I is given by C theta by BAN. So this is the current that is flowing through this one. So here C we can write easily, we can determine this one. B is the magnetic field between the two radial, between the two concave poles, which is producing the radial magnetic field. Area of this coil that we are keeping here, N is the number of turns, and theta can be measured by using lamp and scale arrangement. So in this a light will be allowed to fall on this one. Reflected light will be, this is the light that is used to send the bulb that is used to send the light. That light will fall here and it reflects here. So this is the scale which is arranged here. So let us say this is the first reading R1. When the current is allowed to pass through this one, the coil will rotate. As a result, the mirror also rotates by a small angle theta. If it is rotated by theta, this also rotates with theta. Then the reflected light ray deflected by 2 theta. So when the mirror rotates by theta, the reflected light will rotate by 2 theta. So this is the new reading R2. So the reading R, this is the distance between these two D. Tan 2 theta is equal to R2 minus R1 or R by D. If theta is very small, 2 theta can be written as R by D. Theta is equal to R by 2D. By substituting this theta here, we can find out the amount of current flowing through a moving coil galvanometer. Here, a charged sphere of mass m, charge q, starts sliding from rest. So what is the initial velocity here? This is 0. So this is the sphere having charge q mass m sliding with initial velocity 0 from rest. So it is sliding along the curved path along circular track of radius r. So the radius of this one is r. At any point radius is r here. Now, as shown in the figure, there exists a uniform and constant magnetic field of induction B, so which is acting away from the board here. Find the maximum force exerted by the track on the sphere. So when it is coming like this, so now let me take any one condition here. So this is the track. Let us say this is the sphere of having charge q mass m. So when it is revolving or rotating or moving along this circular path, so actually it is moving on the circumference of a circular path. Now, what are the forces that are acting on this particle? First one, as it has mass m, weight always acts vertically downwards. Let us say the angle made by this one and this position is theta. So you can resolve this into two components. If it is theta, this will theta, this is 90 minus theta, this is theta. So this will become mg cos theta and this is mg sin theta. Similarly, what are the other forces that are acting at this point? When it is in contact, a contact force also called normal reaction will act on this one. So these are the two forces that are acting, one normal reaction, one weight component here along this line. But as the field is acting outwards, the charge is moving like this. So a force will act away from this one, which is acting radially outwards. So this is a BQV sin theta magnetic force. So the forces experienced by this one at this position are, first one A, weight of this one, B, normal reaction, N, C, magnetic force, this is BQV, normal, this is weight. In equilibrium we know that this force and this force must be equal and opposite, net force will become 0. But as it is moving in a circular path, the force that is acting towards the center is called centripetal force. The centripetal force is given by this force N minus these two forces. Centripetal force is equal to N minus mg sin theta plus BQV. What is the centripetal force? The centripetal force, we know that mass of this particle is m, velocity is given as v. So this can be written as mv square by radius r is given by n minus mg sin theta plus BQV. They are asked to find out the maximum force exerted by the track on the sphere. By the track on the sphere, this force is acting. That means they are asking us to find out the normal reaction. So I want this force. So N is equal to, you bring this one this side, mv square by r plus mg sin theta plus BQV. This is the force exerted by the track on this one. But as they are asking maximum force, you can see mass, radius, velocity are constants. This value will not change. BQV will be constants, this will not change, but mg sin theta is variable because it depends on theta. So this will be maximum only if this is maximum. So maximum value of sin 90, we know sin 90 is equal to 1. So N max is given by mv square by r plus this will be mg plus BQV. But what is the velocity when theta is 90? So when it comes, this sphere comes to this position, the velocity is going to be root over 2gr. So if you substitute this value here, you will get m by r v square, that is m by r v square is equal to 2gr plus mg plus BQV. This r and r get cancelled. 2mg plus mg, 3mg. The maximum force exerted by the track on this sphere is given by 3mg plus BQV. If you know these quantities, you can find out the normal or maximum force exerted by the track on the sphere. A current carrying circular wire of radius r, radius of the circular coil is r, placed in a uniform magnetic field B, which is acting into this one. So it is perpendicular to the plane. So B is acting into the board. Find the tension T along the circumference of this wire. So along this circumference, what is the tension they are asking? Now let me take a small portion of it. I am not going to take the complete circular ring here. A small portion of it I am taking here. So on this one, this is radius r. This is the direction along which the tension will act, circumference of this one, and this is also T. Now you can resolve this into two components. One as, if it is theta, this will become T cos theta, and this component will be T sin theta, and this is also theta, and if it is theta, this will become T cos theta, this will become T sin theta. So what is the pulling force in this direction? The total force is T sin theta plus T sin theta, 2T sin theta. This is the inward force. But as it is carrying some current in this direction and the field is acting inwards, this is the magnetic field, this is current, and the magnetic force also acts inwards, which is given by BQV as the current is flowing here, BI into DI. What is DL here? A small, because I am not considering the entire portion, I am just taking a small portion here. So, but this is enlarged version here. So, on this small portion, if you take this one, this length is called DL, this is DL. Now, from this what I am going to do, if it is DL, DL is given by radius into, if it is theta, this will be theta, this is theta. So, DL equal to R into 2 theta. So, in place of DL I am going to write R 2 theta. So, 2t sin theta is equal Bi into R into 2 theta. If this theta is very small, as I am taking a small portion of it, theta will be very small. Sin theta can be written as theta. So 2t into theta is equal to BIR into 2 theta. This theta get cancelled. This 2 and 2 get cancelled. This tension along the circumference is the product of the magnetic field, current and radius of this circular path. Here, for the arrangement shown in the figure, find the potential energy and work on increasing the separation from A to 2A. The present separation between this loop and this conductor is A, but if I want to make this a separation to 2A, how much work I have to do? Second part, and first of all I need to find out the potential energy of this one. The potential energy is given by minus m bar dot b bar. You can use this formula if b bar is uniform, but here you see, due to this current I1, magnetic field here will be different as the distance increases. Each and every part of this coil will experience a different magnetic field. So that's why I am going to take a small portion here. So whose length is L only, this L, and which is a distance of x from this one, and this is dx. So in this case I am going to write du is equal, first let me find out the small potential energy, minus dm bar into b bar. So this is minus of, what is dm? dm is a current into area of that strip. So current that is flowing in the small loop is I2, and the area of this small strip is, this is L, this is dx. So L into dx. So this is the dm. And what is B here? So magnetic field due to this current at this point is given by B. So this is given by mu naught I1 by 2 pi into distance of this point from here is A, this is x. So this will become A plus x. So this is the magnetic field. Now this is du, let me take it as equation 1. And to find out the total potential energy, integrate this one with the limits. So integrate on both sides, integrate this one on both sides. I will get u as, what are the constants? First bring them outside. Mu naught is a constant, product of the two currents flowing in these two, wire and the coil is I1, I2. Length of this loop is L by 2 pi, and the integral remaining terms are dx by a plus x. So in this also a is constant, x is the variable. What is the minimum value of x? The minimum value of x is 0. The maximum of x is equal to this b, or actually here when you are differentiating this, integrating this one, the minimum value of x is, you can take it as 0 and b. 0 and b. Now you can write this as mu naught I1 I2 L by 2 pi. This is log of a plus x to the base e with limits 0 to b. You can write this, generally we write mu naught by 4 pi, which is easy to write. So multiply with 2, divide with 2, you will get mu naught by 4 pi 2 into I1 I2 L. If you substitute this b first, log of a plus b minus, if you substitute 0 here, log a. So log a plus b by a to the base e. So this is the potential energy of this loop in that position. Now if I want to change the separation from A to 2A, work done is equal to change in potential energy. So this is U final minus U initial. So what is the final potential energy? So I am going to take this one. The final potential mu naught by 4 pi 2 I1 I2 L. These are all constant log. A constant, B will change here. So first in the final potential energy, the separation is not A, this will be 2A. So in this I am going to represent mu naught by 4 pi 2 I1 I2 L is constant. This is a constant. Now the only variable is these log values. So when the separation is 2A, this will become log of 2A plus B by 2A minus log of A plus B by A. Log of A plus B by A. This is the variable. So mu naught by 4 pi 2 I1 I2 L into, this is log A minus log B, log A by B. So log of 2A plus B by 2A into, this will be reversed here, A plus B by A will become A by A plus B. So this A and A get cancelled. So the total work done is given by mu naught by 4 pi 2 I1 I2 L log of 2A plus B by A plus B. This is the total work done to increase the separation from A to 2A.